Welcome to the Hindsight podcast, where we visit past dramas that have plagued the community and offer clarity on the situation. I am your host, xExotic, and with me I have Party.
Hey, how's it going?
And also with me we have MikeTheBike.
Hey, what's up? I'm MikeTheBike.
Okay, before we get into this, I did want to go over exactly why I wanted to even do something like this. With MikeTheBike specifically, I really wanted to talk about this drama and start off the podcast with this because I feel like nobody talks about this type of stuff. We are in a community where with big YouTubers, if something is said about them, it can be easily disproven because there's so much information that's out there. But with people like Mike, unfortunately, what ends up happening is that we play this game of telephone where information just gets spread around from person to person and just shit gets lost. And some people even make stuff up, but that's just easily not true. And unfortunately, no one really cares to figure out the truth anyways, which we'll see you'll end up seeing what I mean by that later on. But so far, let's go over the MikeTheBike drama. So, MikeTheBike, why don't you go ahead and introduce exactly who you are and how the drama happened?
So, you guys know I'm Mike. And basically what happened was, so I guess I can start off by explaining the drama had to do with someone who used to be in the community named Hani. She was a pretty normal chatter. Well, normal as in like she was always in chat, not normal as in normal as a person. But
like
she was
regular chatter,
she was always regular chatter. That's the right word. But she was always around, and she was pretty well known amongst everyone. Like pretty much all the creators like knew her in the community and all that stuff. She was mostly known for like the meme clips, like her saying the N-word during an Among Us game, and because she had like a lolly voice, so that's another thing that stood out about her. So what happened basically was she had told a 16-year-old named Bob that she had a crush on him, and after that fact, she was sending all sorts of kind of sexual jokes and memes, and just speaking to him in inappropriate ways that obviously in this community with a lot of minors is unacceptable. And so she was justly kicked out of the community. And I was definitely her closest friend when that went down. So at the time, eyes were on me. And I at first made a lie. I said that I was no longer friends with her and I didn't want to associate with her anymore. But about after a week of that being out there, I then made a message explaining my situation and basically leaving the community for the time being. And I guess before we go into more detail about the Twitlonger, I'll explain my relationship with Hani, so that way it kind of gives context to everything. So me and Hani met around like September 2020. We were like kind of just acquaintance for a while, and eventually we became closer around December, I think. And that's when we kind of really became like good friends. It wasn't until February, because unfortunately everyone knows that me and her had a more intimate relationship. So it was around February that things got more intimate. And then around a week before all the drama happened, me and her pretty much ended up staying friends. Like that was the decision that was made. And that's when the whole expose happened. So I guess we can get into the Twitlonger. Party, would you want to read the Twitlonger?
Sure. So I guess this is the end. Fact of the matter is, I am still talking with Hani. I know people have already found out, so it is what it is. All of the evidence is out there about what she did, and I was truthful when I said I didn't know the full context of what she did. I did not know that she had a crush, nor told Bob that she did have a crush. What I knew is that she told Lex, but she was confused about how she felt about Bob. I wasn't aware about any DMs she had with Bob, but I did know that she would make sexual jokes and send sexual memes. I always told her not to, as anyone who knows me knows that I'm not okay with making sexual jokes towards minors. I don't think she's a pedo. I don't know if I'd call her a groomer since I see the messages as jokes, but I also see the argument as to why she is one.
Because I know a lot of people use the last bit where you say, know if I call her a groomer, and they kind of use that to say that you're defending her.
Yeah. Like the common thing is that, oh, I defended Hani, when nowhere in here, whether you see that as a defense or not, my intent was not to defend her. Because the fact of the matter is that at the time, and even now, being as close as I was with her and knowing her, I don't so for me, what I consider a groomer is someone who is trying to basically entice someone who's a minor to a position where they would be willing to either have sex or do sexual things with them. And I don't believe that was the intent behind her actions. I think what she did was wrong. Like, I want to clarify very, very clearly. What she did was wrong. She deserved to get kicked from the community. And Bob is a victim in this situation. Those three are true, whether I think she's a groomer or not. But what I believe is that I don't think she was intending to groom Bob. But however, that goes down to intent, right? So anyone else that believes that those jokes and those memes and everything, if they honestly believe that that was her trying to groom Bob, then I'm not going to argue with them. That's why I said I also see the argument as to why she is one. Because if you truly believe, like if either of you truly believe that Hani's intent was to groom Bob through those messages, then I put my hands up and say that, okay, yeah, I can't argue with that. But me personally, I don't think that was her intent. What she did was still wrong, and she did deserve to get kicked from the community, and I will never defend her actions because I think that's wrong. I think making sexual jokes and sending sexual memes to a minor is wrong when you're an adult, and I think that's because it kind of breaks down this wall that should be between adults and minors. Like, I'm not in like, because like, you know, I can use an example. Smaggles made sexual jokes every now and again to like minors. Usually he doesn't know they're a minor, in fairness to him, but I also don't think that makes him a pedophile. That's why I don't endorse the jokes where people call Smaggle a pedophile. I don't think that's funny. I think that's wrong to do that. So in the same vein, right? But again, that doesn't change the fact that what she did was wrong, and I'm not going to defend it. I didn't defend it then, I'm not going to defend it now, and I never was going to defend it in the future. What she did was wrong. She got what she deserved. She got kicked from the community. That has a lot of minors in it, and that was the right thing for the community to do. So, right, yeah, anyone that says I was trying to defend her, I guess I will extend and say, I get why you think I was trying to defend her, but I'm just telling you right now that you're wrong. Like, I'm just saying on my end, that wasn't my intention, and I don't think I did that either.
And then the other thing in this first paragraph would be that you say that you didn't know about this that this was happening between them?
Yeah, I didn't know. So I knew this exact story I knew was the same one that she told, she made a Twitter video about, where she said she was talking to Lex, who was outed as a groomer as well. She was friends with Lex, and at a certain point, she confided in Lex about her feelings about Bob and asked her what Lex thought. And Lex, according to Hani, this is all alleged, according to Hani, Lex encouraged Hani to get with Bob, which Hani responded with, no, I don't think that's right. Another thing that makes me believe that Hani's intent wasn't to groom is that I have DMs between Hani and Bob's ex, where the ex was, and by the way, I'm just going to say this now, I'm not going to share any private DMs that I have because I don't believe in spreading DMs, which we'll touch on the topic of DMs later.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that.
But when it comes to this specific situation, the DMs between Hani and Bob's ex, basically the ex was saying, oh, I wish I wasn't with Bob so you could get with him. And Hani basically says, I would never do that. Like, that's wrong. Like, that would never happen. Me and Bob getting together is never going to happen because that's wrong. So something along those lines. And just for posterity, I will send to the two hosts here, Exotic and Party, I will send them any DMs that I claim to have to them so that they can verify it. But I'm not going to post those DMs publicly. The thing is that, so I knew that she talked to Lex about it. I didn't know she directly told Bob that she had a crush on him. To me, that's where the line is crossed. Because at that point, she's directly involving Bob. And I think that is very, like, that kind of negatively affects the mental state of a minor if an adult is saying, hey, I have a crush on you. To me, that's the worst thing she did. That and a specific thing she said to Bob that was really fucked up. Those are the two worst things that she said.
Okay, then, well, with that, let's continue on with the rest of the Twitlonger. Party, why don't you go ahead and read the next paragraph?
All right. I never watched furry gore porn with her. She was trolling bastard with it, and as far as I am aware, she has never sent that imagery to Bob. She has never sent porn to Bob, as far as I'm aware. She has never sent any nudes or had e-sex with Bob. She has never raped a 6-year-old. She has never... Well, she didn't watch Cuties with Bob. He watched it on his own, and then was accused of being a pedo by Avery, which me and Honey defended Bob for.
I'll cover those things. So, yeah, apparently, I guess what turned out to be true, because Bob said he did remember a specific Gore image. I don't recall Bob ever seeing the images, so I guess what might have happened is that Hani sent a screenshot to Bob that had the image in it. So she did, I guess, send an image to Bob, maybe unwittingly, but regardless if it was unwittingly or not, it's still wrong. Like, doesn't matter if she intended to or didn't. I guess she did send an image to Bob, and if Bob says he remembers it, then yeah, she did. So, but I didn't know that at the time. Again, I'm not aware of any porn she's ever sent to Bob. Didn't know and I know for a fact she never sent nudes or had e-sex with Bob, because I'm pretty sure that would have come out. The point of me listing these things she didn't do is because during the week that I was kind of taking a break and trying to get past this whole drama, I saw a lot of rumors being spread around about what happened and what was done, and I was like, well, I'm leaving anyways, so I'm gonna clear out the things that I know she didn't do, which I guess in hindsight, the first thing with the furry gore porn, that turned out to not be true, but the rest of it I'm fairly certain of. The whole Cuties with Bob thing, I believe it was Taps, and she since then said that she's sorry because it was mainly a joke, but there were people who took it seriously. Yeah, Hani never saw Cuties with Bob. Bob watched it of his own accord, and when that happened, Avery was in the, I believe it was Turtles Discord, and said that Bob was going to be a future pedo, which they did end up hashing out and fixing. I didn't clarify, so I want to say this. When I posted this Twitlonger, Avery accused me of like misrepresenting the situation for some reason, even though I feel like it's totally fair that the forefront of my mind wasn't writing an extra paragraph to explain the entire situation between Avery and Bob. I was just trying to quickly explain that Hani didn't watch Cuties with Bob. So yeah, I'm sorry I didn't fully describe the situation, but this is basically the rough description of what happened. Bob and Avery did like hash out everything, but yeah, Avery basically called Bob a future pedo for watching Cuties, and they hashed it out. I didn't go into detail about it because, again, that wasn't at the forefront of my mind when I was writing basically my resign notice from the internet.
Yeah, and for me, when I look at this, I can see why a lot of people come out saying like, you defended her, because you basically bring out like all these stuff that she didn't do this and she didn't do that. But you have to remember, earlier I did bring up how in this community we have a lot of like people who don't have all the information, like presented to them, is that we don't have it available to us, right? So what's going to happen is that you're going to have people, and we'll show this later too, we're going to have people just say some like wild shit that's most likely not true. Like, I guess Hani raping a 6-year-old, which is completely fucking ludicrous.
Yeah, someone made a tweet saying that, oh, Hani talked about how she raped a 6-year-old or something like that. There was a tweet like that. Regardless if it was a joke or not, saying something like that, like Hani fucked up and she got what she deserved. But like, you can't just go ahead and go to the next level and say that she then raped a 6-year-old. Like, that's like going beyond the pale. It's basically like Pro Jared might have sent nudes to minors, but that wasn't his intent. And then saying Pro Jared was e-sexing with children. Like, you're taking one thing and then you're moving it up to the next level. Like, yeah, what Hani did was fucked up and she got what she deserved. But again, that's like, that doesn't mean that I can just sit idly by and just let misinformation spread. So I did take the opportunity to clear out any misinformation, but me clearing out misinformation is not me defending her. It's just stating the facts. Saying something didn't happen isn't a defense. It's just a statement of fact. Like, that's it.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you ended up doing something like that too, because unfortunately in this community a lot of information gets spreading around, especially with like in our channel sizes and our Twitter sizes. There's not a lot of information on us.
Yeah,
so.
It's the internet. People play telephone a lot, which I don't blame people for doing. Telephone. Like, I don't blame people for doing, because even I'm a victim of that. Sometimes I hear something and I just kind of, if I hear it from somebody I trust, I take it at face value. I'm like, okay, I trust you, so I'll believe you on that. But, it's like, at the same time, if you have the full info, then I feel like it's your responsibility to explain what you know.
I agree. All right, well, Party, why don't you go ahead and continue on with the next paragraph?
All right. This community gave me a lot, more than I ever received before. But since February, I have had to watch friend after friend be kicked from the community, and to be honest, they deserved it. Abe and Lex especially. Lex is still lurking, someone who actually had sex with a minor. But at this point, if I can't just be friends with someone without fear I'm going to be canceled, then I think it's best I move on from the community. If you are disappointed by this, I understand. And for those of you who I consider to be friends with no longer wish to stay friends with me, then I also understand. I'm deactivating this and the number 1 Goya account by tomorrow morning. I'll be keeping my channel up in case I continue as a hobby. I'm going to keep my Discord, but by the time you read this, I'll have left most of the servers. And for those wondering if I'm okay, I am. I still have my IRL friends, my band, and my family, but honestly, this whole thing has caused me more stress than I've experienced in a while. That, along me needing to focus more on school and getting a better job, has all pushed me towards this decision. Anyways, it was fun while it lasted. Have a great life, everyone.
So when I posted this, most people, I don't think, really paid attention to the bottom part of it. They just focused on everything else, which in fairness, everything else takes up more space, right? But pretty much everyone just took it as, oh, he left the internet for Hani. Oh, he's quitting for Hani and this and that. And like the stuff that happened with Hani was like, it was like the straw that broke the camel's back. It was like the catalyst for everything. Pretty much since like March or April, I had been thinking maybe I should kind of take a break. Things just kept kind of getting too much for me. I put there, along with me needing to focus on school, getting a better job, you know, there was a lot of things in my personal life that caused me to leave. Hani was the straw that broke the camel's back, but she was not the only reason why I left. The main reasons why I left, and I'll list them out. I didn't list them out here. I didn't go into detail about my own life here because I didn't want that info out there. But thanks to someone leaking personal stuff about me, and I'm sure we'll get to them later, thanks to someone leaking personal stuff about me, I don't see a reason why now I can't just go into detail about it. So I'll go into detail about it. So basically at that moment in my life, there was a lot of things going on. One of the things was regarding school. The previous semester, I had failed a class. And there's no doubt in my mind the reason why I failed is because I wasn't focusing on it, because I was focusing on doing YouTube stuff and being on the internet. I was just putting way too much time into that and not putting time into my studies. And right now I'm 27. So I'm 27 and I haven't finished college. I do kind of have a fire under my ass to get my shit done. So that was one reason. The other reason was at the time I was working at a job that paid $8.50 an hour with no benefits. Now, that job is good. That job was good for YouTube, right? It was good for, building up my channel because it gave me a lot of time to just kind of, like, at the job, my job basically requires me to do nothing all day. I just got to kind of be there and keep my eyes out. So I get to be on my phone a lot of the time, right? However, I'm at $8.50 an hour. That's not enough to deal with. I have a lot of debt. I have a lot of things I got to pay off. That's not enough money to get me by. And my channel wasn't earning me money either. At least not enough. I would stream and I'd get some money that way, but not enough to make up for the fact that I was only making $8.50 an hour. That's the job part of it. But there were other things too. For example, while I was doing the YouTube stuff, I was kind of getting distance from my IRL friends. I wasn't spending much time with my IRL friends. And I kind of missed doing that. I kind of missed going out every weekend and, hanging out, playing games, drinking, that kind of stuff. I was kind of becoming terminally online when I wasn't before. And that's obviously not something I wanted to happen. And then if we go into love life, if we're going to go personal here, I've not had, I didn't have a girlfriend at the time. There was someone that I had my eye on, but I never kind of went for going for that person because I was just too like the normal, like, I'm too nervous, I can't do it. Which, by the way, after I did leave, I did shoot my shot. Things didn't work out, but at least I know that, I tried to go, for this girl. But see, there was like a lot of things in my life that just wasn't working out. And then the other thing that I didn't mention in this Twitlonger that happened an hour before I made this Twitlonger was a friend of mine had his life taken from him. And that was another thing that very much impacted me emotionally. And I didn't mention that in this Twitlonger either, because I wasn't going to use my friend for sympathy. One thing that people say is that I lied for sympathy. I can see how I came across that way. That wasn't my intent. I lied because, if I'm going to be frank, I thought that was what I had to do to keep doing YouTube. And if that sounds worse than trying to do it for sympathy, I'm sorry, but that was my mindset at the time. But yeah, no, I wasn't going to use my friend for sympathy. As a matter of fact, when I heard about my friend passing away and I got the GoFundMe for my friend, I actually hesitated on coming back to announce the GoFundMe because I was like, oh, people are going to think I'm doing it for sympathy. But as the next day passed, I was like, you know what? I don't care what people think. I want to do my best to help my friend get money. And thankfully, to anyone who donated, by the way, we raised between what I posted on Twitter and between my band, we raised around $150 for my friend's GoFundMe, you know. But those were like, as you can understand, there was a lot of things going on in my life at the time that I left, and it wasn't just Hani. And even then, yeah, the whole thing with me having sex with Hani, you know, people know about that, but that wasn't like. What people don't understand is I get the meme is like, oh, Mike simped for Hani and this and that. I get it. I understand the meme and everything. But the reality of the situation is that wasn't part of the equation. You know, I was friends with her. And at the time, I wanted to kind of be friends with her for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is because I was good friends with her and I just didn't want to stop being friends with her at the time. But the other reason was because I was fairly concerned. She is terminally online. Like, as terminally online as it gets, she has... well, at least at the time, she had no real life friends. So I was kind of her only friends. And that she never, I will clarify, she never made any threats of self-harm or suicide to me. But that was a fear in the back of my mind. And that's another thing that pushed me to staying friends with her. There was just a lot of things that was going on all at once that made me just decide to leave. You know, and my band played a part in me leaving too, because I wasn't being as productive on my band as I was with my YouTube channel. And even though I loved my YouTube channel, I do love my band more. And that's just how it is. I love my band more than, you know, making parodies and covers is fun, but I love doing original music. All of that together is the full reason why I left. Now, anyone that's listening, you could just say, I'm talking shit or I'm lying or whatever you want. But if that's your opinion, then I don't know. Like, you weren't going to listen to me anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But to anyone that actually cares to listen to what I'm trying to say, I hope you understand a little more. I'm being as honest as I can be right now. You know, so whether you want to believe me or not, that's up to you. That's your prerogative. But this is like what was going on at the time. And some of those things have been rectified now. The band's almost done with the album. My job, I haven't gotten a new job yet, but I did get a raise. So that's definitely helping with things. I'm doing better with school. I am starting to see someone now. It's seeing how things go, you know. There's a lot of things in my life that have improved. And now that they've improved enough, I have, you know, that's why I was free enough that I was like, okay, well, you know what? I think I can kind of come back at this point.
Yeah, speaking of coming back, you know, I see you you've reactivated your Twitter account. You're posting there a lot more. And do you ever think that you'll come back, or?
I do intend to make YouTube videos again. And as a matter of fact, I intend to post a song here and there once in a blue moon, but not anywhere near to the level I was before. Like maybe you'll get I was actually planning a song for Halloween, but it's just not going to happen because I've just been way too busy. But as for coming back full time, I've mentioned this in other places before, and I'll clarify it here. I'm not coming back full time until I finish college. Once I finish college, then, and I have like an actual job, then I'll be down to do stuff full time, because then I'll only have to focus on my job, my band, and my YouTube channel. And, you know, that could be 2 or 3 years away from now. So it could be a while from now. But, yeah, I do intend to come back. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of focusing on my life still. Because I don't feel like I can take up... my band is already a hobby that I'm trying to make a job. I can't take up a second hobby that I'm trying to make a job while I still don't have a professional job. You know, it's just not a feasible thing for me to do. And it's not wise either.
Yeah, and you know, when people first saw that you were like going back into streams and as well as posting on Twitter and stuff like that, there was, I guess, a mixed kind of opinion about you coming back.
So after multiple clips that came out in like multiple different pieces, majority of like the big YouTubers in the community, you know, Akira C, Tommy C, they were pretty okay or wanted him to come back. It's kind of shows like the top people in the community don't care. Meanwhile, it's like all the people that watch those people, you know, like the viewers of the community, as I'll put it, who are like, all right, get him out of here and all that, you know.
Yeah, I think that mainly those people who are watching like the RFC community and all those guys, and I think those are, it's sort of a mixed bag of whether they actually do want you to come back or not, which we'll go into in just a bit. I think that's going to be it for the Twitlonger, actually. I think we can move on from this.
Yeah, that Twitlonger is pretty much explained everything about the Twitlonger. And the Cliff Notes version of it is that I wasn't defending Hani, and I didn't leave only because of Hani. There were multiple reasons why I left.
You know, I'm a member of the community as well, too. You know, I've been here for a while. I've been in streams. I've been in your streams, and I've seen everyone's reactions. And as somebody who is a part of this, you know, I think that you can come back. I don't think that what you did was that big of a deal. In reality, what ended up happening is that you were just, you know, friends with like a bad person. And it's more about like guilty by association, because it's not like you did anything wrong yourself. It's barely about like, oh, your friend did something and that you kind of still want to be friends with them. I do think it's a little weird how people wanted you to just so suddenly just kind of flip the switch and be like, oh, well, you know, I want to like immediately kind of just throw my friend away like that too. Yeah. I think Squatchin ended up bringing up that point about like, you can't just expect someone to be friends with someone, and if they fuck up or do something bad, to be like immediately like throw them in the trash. You know, that's not very realistic about how people act toward each other.
And of course there's exceptions to that. Like if it came out that she straight up like sent like nudes to Bob or like had like sex with him, that would have been like, okay, yeah, no, that's like instantly cut her out.
Yeah, that would be like something to cut her off for. But we do know the full story about what happened though, so it did not happen.
No, yeah, like we know that didn't happen. So because I actually did hear what was gonna come out before it came out. So when everything came out, I heard the day that it came out, like a few hours before, basically. And one of the things that I heard was that she did in fact do those things. And I was like bad tripping about it. I was like, wait, hold the fuck on. Like, she actually did that with him? Like, I was hearing things like that. Then when I got the full document, it turned out that no, that was not in there. That's something that, again, telephone started happening and people were talking about that. But no, that obviously wasn't part of it, because if it was part of it, that would have come out. No one would have put that under the rug, obviously.
Oh, absolutely not. There's no way anybody would just forget about that one.
They're like, we're going to post all this other stuff.
And that didn't even happen.
The Gore porn thing, we'll definitely get to that later.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, we'll get to that. That didn't even happen, and people are still going off about that, which we'll, say that for a little bit. But yeah, I think that you can easily come back. Your crime was that you're friends with like a terrible person.
Yeah, like
pretty much it.
At the time when I was starting to pop my head back into streams and stuff, like, kind of, dipping my toes in the water, seeing how things would go. Augie was super excited to have me back. Nick was excited to have me back. Tommy was cool for me from day one. Like I DM'd Tommy a few, like not, and let me very specifically say a very few amount of times. I DM'd Tommy during my break, specific questions, this and that. But like, they were all super cool with me coming back. Majority of the chat was neutral, and there was a few people that were happy to see me back and a few people that were really mad to see me back. But at this point now, there are still some people that really don't like me, but for the most part, if I wanted to and if I had the ability to, I could go back to making a song every week, streaming every day. I could do all that stuff right now if I wanted to. It would totally be like, and that's not me trying to sound like confident or anything like that. That's just me speaking frankly. Like, yeah, I could come back and do all those things right now if I wanted to. And I mean, yeah, I do want to. That stuff is fun. But it would be irresponsible to do that when I have all these other responsibilities that I got going on. I gotta adult. If I was in this community 10 years prior from, like, if I was 10 years younger, I would only have to worry about high school. So I could probably do full-time YouTube, but as of right now, I've got
perhaps so
too much going on.
Well, Party, what do you think about this, dude? Do you think that Mike can come back, or you think he's done? What's your take on this?
So I'm gonna start, like, I guess my history in the community, I guess. Yeah, I've been watching, like, I started off with RFC for about over a year now. I barely talked to anybody in the community at the time. And I think it was Mike's streams that kind of got me talking more with people in the community. In my personal opinion, I think he should be given the chance to come back and give it another shot after seeing all the evidence.
Well, now that you bring it up, that's actually how I met Mike too. I ended up just joining his live streams and was stuck around long enough to be on it. So, hey, what do you know? And we did go into how there are people who have negative reactions to you. And of course, we're all on Twitter, so we're going to see a lot of tweets coming from people. And we're going to start off by going some of like the batshit fucking stupid tweets that we see. And one of the first ones that I seen, and this is a talking point that I see a lot when it comes to you, Mike, is that you are supporting a groomer.
Right. Yeah. No,
what is this? Because obviously you just explained this to us, and you say in your Twitlonger that you don't agree with what's been happening.
Like I was never okay with what she did. I told her to her face, like if I'm gonna go into like things that me and her talked about before. There was like a few times where she was trying to say, like, she didn't say I don't deserve this, but she was saying something along the lines, and I would usually interrupt her and be like, no, you totally deserve what happened. Like, this is everything that's happening now. Like, all the shit you're going through right now is your fault because of your actions. That's something I tried my best to hammer into her, because I wasn't gonna go easy on her over this either. Like, yeah, I decided to stay friends with her, but that doesn't mean I was gonna baby her either, you know? I was like, I was there for like emotional support, but at the same time, it's like, no. You're not gonna go ahead and try and say things that just aren't true. This is all your fault. Everything that's happening is your fault. Like, everything that's happening to you. That was like something that I made very sure to hammer on home. So no, I didn't. It would be really stupid if I defended her publicly and then in private I'm like, by the way, you're fucking stupid and you fucked up. Like, that would just be counter. That wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, and you know, something that you just said, that you told her about how you felt about this and how she is in the wrong, and you know, people aren't being too hard, right? And it's funny because I don't think that what your words got to her, I guess, because she started posting a lot on Twitter, coming back every now and then and whatnot.
She would go nuclear on Twitter every now and again.
And I guess that's your fault too, apparently, I guess, right?
No, yeah, that's like, according to someone named Trans Tipster, that's that stuff with Hani is 100% my fault, even though I don't really see how it was.
Yeah, I have no idea. This is clearly a great example of what I've been talking about this entire time. You know, I've talked to you guys about people not knowing what the hell they're talking about, and people, you know, playing telephone. And this is a perfect example. Here we have Trans Tipster saying Hani is 100% MikeTheBike's fault.
Yeah, I've never even heard anyone else make that claim, that the stuff that Hani did was my fault. So I don't really know how it is. Yeah, that's so retarded. It's like not even worth addressing, to be honest, because I don't see how what Hani did is my fault. If you ask anyone that knew me, I was never okay with sexual jokes towards minors. I got into fights with different people over that kind of stuff, and there's people that can back up what I'm saying, because I'm just not okay with that stuff. So if I knew to the extent of what jokes she was making, you know, I wouldn't be okay with it, that I would call her out for it being my fault. Like, even if this person said it's 10% my fault, I would just be like, no, I don't think it's my fault at all. I had nothing to do with the shit she did.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring this one up because, yeah, sure, you just said we're not going to like address it really. We kind of already are, but it's just so stupid, and I wanted to point it out just to have people see exactly what the type of shit that you have to like see. The talking points against you are just that stupid.
No, yeah. Like, there are some talking points that obviously do need addressing, because obviously the full details aren't known about them, but like things like the shit that Trans Augie / Trans Tipster say, they're just so like, I mean, I'm obviously gonna address them because they're kind of funny in a way, but it's like you're so like brain dead that like,
yeah,
like I can't even imagine like living a life where I'm that stupid, where I'm as stupid as this person. It's just so miserable.
I know, it really is funny actually. and then fucking Trans Augie posts the Anon interview titled Ibafa interview and like timestamps it in the Twitter saying like, oh, as if like he got you. Like, oh, I got him here, guys.
Yeah.
Look, I got the timestamps.
Trans Augie posted. Trans Augie and Trans Tipster are the same person if you don't know. But
yeah.
The Trans Augie account posted a link to Anon, which by the way, Anon and me are like friends. I don't think if he thought I jerked off to gore porn or loli gore porn, I don't think Anon would be friends with me, just saying. But Trans Augie posted Anon's interview with Hani, where he posts a timestamp, 1620. I'll say 1620 just so that way you guys watching can check it out yourselves. Which, by the way, subscribe to Anon. But, like, I don't... Like, if you watch the clip, nowhere does that prove that I jerked off to loli porn. And as a matter of fact, but the day before they posted, or on the same night that they posted this tweet, Smaggle was hosting a Spaces, and he invited me to go in to address things that Trans Tipster / Trans Augie was saying. And one of the things the main point that they had is I shouldn't be in the community because I'm weird, because I jerked off to loli gore porn. So I was asking for proof, to which they had none. They pointed at the fact that they were basically using the screenshot where Hani says, oh, me and Mike just got off to loli gore porn. We came so hard, and which has already been clarified as a joke, because the context to that was that me and Hani were in a call and she was sending that stuff to this guy named Trolling Bastard. We already talked about it before, but I'll re-clarify. She was sending that stuff to Trolling Bastard to fuck with him because Trolling Bastard was a doxer. So that was what was going on. Me nor Hani never jerked off to loli gore porn. Like, that's just not a thing that happened.
Yeah, well, according to this guy, it totally did.
And the thing is that in the clip he puts, in that timestamp, Hani literally says, when I was sending that stuff to Trolling Bastard with Mike. So Hani literally clarifies what I already said was the context. So that clip doesn't prove anything. And on top of that, if there were proof in that interview, do you not think Anon would call me out himself to say, hey, I have proof that you did this? And then Trans Tipster and then on his Trans Tipster account, he posted a tweet that he was like, oh, thanks for 100 followers. Unlike MikeTheBike, I don't DM kids. So now he's accusing me of pretty much being a pedophile. He's accusing me of DMing children. So yeah, now Trans Tipster Trans Augie is falsely accusing me of pretty much being a straight up pedo. And they were so ass mad that they went to the lengths. They tried to follow me like 3 times on my Twitter. My Twitter's private because I'm on hiatus still. I'm not trying to grow my Twitter at the moment. But yeah, Trans Tipster Trans Augie was trying to follow me on Twitter because I guess they wanted to show me the quote-unquote proof. They tried to follow me like 3 times, and I'm like, yeah, no, you're retarded. You can't follow me. So then they went to my private Instagram to DM me about the whole thing. They tried to DM me showing me the proof that I did it. But at the end of the day, there is literally no proof that I did those things because 1, I didn't do those things, and 2, if I did, or if there was proof of it, Anon would have already found out and he would have called me out for it. And Anon hasn't because Anon knows that I didn't do that. So yeah, Trans Augie, Trans Tipster, yeah, they were a funny meme, but it turns out Nicholas DeOrio was right about gimmick accounts. They're all pretty much retarded.
Yeah, and I've actually heard this guy speak on the space before, and he said some pretty stupid shit, so I'm more inclined to believe that this guy is just some dumb spurg, so everything we can hear this guy say is probably just a bunch of bullshit, so which is pretty common with a lot of other tweets that we'll see here too. Which is the next one right here, actually. Here we have Kyung The King's tweet.
Kyung The King says, funny how the 3 e-girls Mike simp for turn out to be groomers. Interesting.
Yeah, so there's a few things I saw that was getting spread around. One thing I saw tweeted out by a few people, I can't remember them at this point, was saying that I had the 3 people I simped for all turned out to be groomers. Well, I believe the 3 people that are being referred to is Winter, who used to be in the community back, like, I think at this point it's been since March, Hani, and Zell. I never simped for Zell. As a matter of fact, when I did my simp tier list, she actually complained and asked why she wasn't on that tier list, because I never fucking simped for her. I wasn't even really that close to her. Like, I wasn't even really friends with her. I was friendly with her, but I was never even close to her. I talked privately with her like 1 or 2 times maybe. I was nice to her because I was like, all right, well, I'm nice to everyone that I meet at first, unless you give me a reason to dislike you, I'm usually nice to people.
Well, we are in the same community, so there's no real reason to be all hostile to each other, I guess.
But no, I never simped for Zell. That's just not a thing that happened. Me simping for Winter, me and Winter, we were close friends. I simped for her the same way I simped for other like friends online. Like for example, Nugget. I quote unquote simp for Nugget still because me and her are like best friends. But I don't like unironically simp for her. But to add to that, Winter was never a groomer. What happened was on one of my drunk streams, she was accused of flirting with someone on my stream named Surge Lad, and it just wasn't true. Multiple people went through the stream, and we clarified that Winter never flirted with this person. So unfortunately, some people extrapolated upon that and said that Winter was a groomer, but it just never was true that Winter was a groomer. She never groomed anybody. She did a lot of other things that was stupid and that got her kicked from the community, but grooming is not one of them. So again, that's another one that doesn't count. And as for Hani, all right, fair is fair. But yeah, the 3 girls me simping for turned out to be groomers. No, that's not at all true, and it's a retarded thing to say because there's no validity to that.
Yeah, and here we go. Here's a second example of someone just saying some bullshit that just isn't true. And this Kyung The King person, I've seen this dude go into like a couple different streams. The first time I've seen Kyung like spurg out against you was, I believe that this is a comment actually from a stream, and I'm pretty sure this was Augie's when they were talking about you. And Kyung, every time you get brought up, dude, Kyung literally like spurgs out and like literally is complaining every single time about why are people letting you back in? Like, it doesn't make sense. The community is hypocritical. It's fucking cringe, and this guy's stupid.
Yeah, like if they don't like me, that's totally within their right to not like me. Their main reason that that people shouldn't like, they always say like, oh, if people want to let him back in, that's fine. But if he fucks up again, then I'll just sip my tea. And it's like, are you just gonna wait forever for me to fuck up again? Because if I never fuck up again, then you're literally just mauling and boiling inside over me being back. And I've said this multiple times, they should just block me. Like, if you don't like me, block me. You don't have to see me. There are other people that have already blocked me, and it's fine. That's their right. But if you don't like me, just block me. It's really, really simple, actually. It's one of the wonders of the internet that you can do. But I don't think they just refuse to not block me. I don't know why. I think it's because if I have to really, really think about it, maybe it's because they're waiting for me to fuck up so that way they can like laugh at me when I fuck up. But like, that's not gonna happen. Well, let's not say that. Let's say I do fuck up down the line. I guess then that's why they didn't block me. But honestly, like, if you really hate me that much, just block me. It's very simple. Honestly.
Yeah, and this dude loves to fucking cry. Like, literally the perfect example of like crying, malding, spurging is this fucking account right here, dude. Like, seriously. And this guy's like going around saying like, oh, this community is hypocritical because we're gonna let Mike back in. How about the community isn't hypocritical? How about little stupid fuckers like you, like little spurgs, are so fucking trigger happy to like kick people out of the community? And that's the real fucking problem. Because that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like these people, they want you to like fuck up, just so they can be like, haha, I was right.
This person genuinely believes that I defended Hani. Like, clearly, as exampled by from a few nights ago, a stream I was on, they really do believe that in my Twitlonger I defended Hani. But the simple fact of the matter is that multiple people have gone through my Twitlonger, Nugget, Taps, a handful of people have gone through my Twitlonger, and they've also agreed that I wasn't defending Hani there. My fuck up was staying friends with her and lying. Those are my fuck ups. But me defending her, that's something I never did nor intended to do. And also this 3 e-girls I simped for thing, that's just not a thing that happened. I simped for, there was a number of women I simped for as friends. The only people I ever unironically simped for was 2 people, right? And only one of them was a groomer. So yeah, no, that doesn't apply.
Yeah, Kyung The King, literally, dude, stay mad, bro. Keep crying in the fucking corner every time you see Mike the Seriously. All right, so the next one that I wanted to get some coverage on was this account called Real DeOrio Draws. And this account ended up getting like a bunch of like replies to like MikeTheBike coming back and whatnot. And from a lot of different community members too. Some of them with a little more brain dead takes than others. And of course, we have Real DeOrio saying, oh, I'm confused about why MikeTheBike is back and why everyone is welcoming back in the community. Well, of course, I have a good reason why. It's because what he did wasn't that big of a deal. But what I really wanted to go over was this fucking god-awful tweet about Mike coming from Akira. So Akira says this, right? I definitely agree, lol. This is in relation to people not wanting Mike in. Oh, I definitely agree, especially with how everyone also disavowed Breezy and kicked him out of the community. Like, I get that Mike didn't do anything illegal, but he supported a little groomer over his friends. I'm allowed to think he's a degenerate loser who's untrustworthy. So here we have two stupid things, and I'm talking like fucking brain dead right now, okay? So firstly, we have this idea that's Mike supported a groomer, which just isn't true, and you've explained this like 2 times already, so we're not going to have you go over this again.
Yeah, the only thing that I would add is they said I supported a groomer over my friends. It's not like it wasn't either or. Like, there were people that I was still friends with. Like, anyone that wanted to stay friends with me or reach out to me and understand where I was coming from totally had the ability to do that. You know, if Akira wanted to understand, because I was cool with Akira, if Akira wanted to understand why I made the decision I made, she could have DM'd me at any point at all. But it wasn't to like say, oh, I'm going to pick. Again, I explained that the reason I left wasn't just for Hani. But this mindset that I picked a groomer over friends makes it seem like I did. That's just not the case. It's just not true. And I did have friends still. Like, I want to shout out Nugget, xExotic, Mishi. There was a few other people too that, like, that I was just still friends with after the whole thing happened. And it wasn't like I tried to like push them away or anything. Like, if they wanted to be friends with me, that was totally within their right. Or if they wanted to DM me and understand my side, then they could do that. And if after hearing my side of things, they just felt like they couldn't support being friends with me, then that was their prerogative. You know, it was totally within anyone that didn't want to be friends with me, didn't have to be friends with me. Anyone that wanted to stay friends with me was welcome to stay friends with me.
Yeah, that was going to be my second point of this tweet, is that they're saying that you basically chose Hani over your friends, which is another fucking lie, because that's not even true either. People, see, this is what I'm talking about. People love to run their fucking mouths in this community and just say shit that they don't know is true or not. Because guess what, Akira? No, he didn't choose Hani over his friends. After this whole drama went down, you have to remember, Mike was like the first person I kind of really interacted with when I first joined this community. So what happened is, I talked to him, and we got into a call, and we started talking about what happened and whatnot too. And we were still cool with each other, dude. Like, I didn't really have any issues with you, and you clearly don't have an issue with me. I don't think so, because we're still doing this right now. So, and we've talked about other things other than just drama too. Like, we have a very common interest in movies, so.
Yeah, and I guess I'll point out that since we are pointing these types of things out, I will say, like, yeah, if you're watching this and you've gotten this far, you can see that there's like a clear bias, because Exotic is friends with me and me and Party are cool. Like, there's obviously a bias here, but regardless of the bias, yeah, that might change the way Exotic talks and how much, like, he believes what I say. But regardless, you need to just take what we're saying by what we're saying, like by the words that we're saying. You know, when I address something, it doesn't matter if Exotic or Party have a bias for me. What matters is what I actually say. And that's up to you as a listener to take what I say or leave it. That ends up being up to you.
True. I mean, regardless of whatever side you're on, we're all going to have like our own kind of biases against each other or for each other and whatnot. The only thing that I want to say about this tweet is that it's just not true, because the idea that you basically threw us all to the side to go like be friends with Hani is just not true, because you did stay in touch with me. We did talk over, and you talked to other people as well too. So that's just complete bullshit. And you have to remember, the reason why I didn't want to talk about this is because these ideas are not just by this one person. This is something that multiple people also share this opinion. And it's just fucking bullshit. It's not true. And that kind of gets under my skin a little bit. So that's just why I wanted to bring it up. But I'm not actually like super like mad or anything like that. I'm just kind of being a little excited, I guess. Oh, here we go. And this is literally like the cherry on top of the cake, okay? So on top of everything, right? Akira comes back with an even more brain dead and like stupid take. Okay, get this, right? Akira adds on to you being a degenerate and you being a loser and untrustworthy, right? And adds on to that by saying that you don't care about the safety of minors.
Yeah, so I think that's a total stretch.
That's fucking nuclear, in my opinion. Like, you don't care about the safety of minors?
I personally think that's a total stretch to say I don't care about the safety of minors, when in the past I've been super defensive. Like whenever Taps, for example, gets into a drama, or any minor that I was more friendly with in the community, I was always super defensive of them. And if we want to use the direct example of Bob, and again, this is not something I'm going to leak publicly, but I will show to the two hosts here. One of the first things that I said to Hani when we stayed friends was, if I ever catch you talking with Bob again, like, I basically told her, you need to leave Bob alone or else we're not going to be friends anymore. And I think it was in July 10th or June 10th. It was one of the J months. She did, in fact, at Bob like 20 times on Twitter. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And pretty much I told her that you promised me you were going to leave Bob alone. So at that point, from that day on, I was no longer, and to this day, I'm still not friends with Hani anymore. I told her, like, at this point, you've lied to me and you broke the one thing I asked you to not do. And so what I told her was that, you know, I didn't block her on everything, but what I did tell her was, you are not to fuck with Bob again. Like, I basically said, if I catch you fucking with Bob again, or if I catch you getting into fights on Twitter again, I am going to block you on everything. And that's pretty much where it ended. That was the end of our friendship, pretty much. And if you're watching this, if you do catch her fucking with Bob again, let me know. I'll call her out and block her on everything. It's the end of our friendship. I have an open communication with her. Solely the reason is pretty much as an incentive for her to not fuck with Bob again. But, you know, if she decides to just go ahead and fuck with Bob again, then I'll just block her on everything. From that point on, I was no longer friends with her. Because it wasn't just that she went at Bob. She also kind of, when I called her out, she made a sarcastic tweet saying, okay, Mike, I won't fuck with Bob anymore. And it's like, bro, like, especially after, like, me staying friends with you, and you're just gonna fucking throw that in my face. Like, yeah, no, we're not. And we were already drifting apart at the time, like, as friends. So at that point, it was just like, you know what? Yeah, you don't deserve to have me as a friend anymore. So to say I don't care about the safety of minors when the first and main thing I asked of her to do was to leave Bob alone, because I believed and still believe that Bob is a victim. Yeah, no, I don't think that's accurate at all. And I think it's very much a stretch to say I don't care about the safety of minors, because I very much do. I have my own little sister. So for you to claim that I don't care about the safety of minors is, you just don't know me. You clearly don't know me. Anyone that does know me knows I very much do care about the safety of minors.
Yeah, what I wanted to say this is like some very, you said, well, it's just untrue, right? And you kind of are more calm about it. When I saw this, I was like, holy shit, this is nuclear, right?
I was more pissed about it at the time. I've calmed down now. You know, I don't want to start anything either. I'm just here to explain myself. But at the time, I was very pissed about this, because that's pretty much an attack on my character that there is no validity to.
Yeah, and obviously right now, I mean, I wanted to make this clear. Actually, even though I have all these tweets from these people that we're saying and we're naming, I don't actually like hate any of the people that we're talking about. I just think that what you're saying is stupid, but I don't actually like hate you or anything. Like, I'm not going to like cry about you on Twitter on like Kyung or anything like that. But I just want to say though that this is like some deaf noodle shit right here. Like this, there's no truth to any of this. And you're just basically like just being slanderous to his character. This is very kind of funny coming from like the RFC community, because if you're going to be part of a community that loves to like take down people like Deaf Noodles and like the T channels, and you really like care about like, oh yeah, you know, like we got to make sure to say the truth and shit like that, and we don't like this slander. What the fuck is this? Like, you don't care about the safety of minors? You don't think that MikeTheBike is like a normal human being and like just cares about, like, doesn't give a shit about children? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why would you say that? That's completely nuclear.
The only leeway I can give is if you thought that what I was doing was defending and supporting Hani, then I guess from your perspective, you would think I don't care about the safety of minors. But the fact of the matter is I did neither of those things, and I very much do care about the safety of minors. As for the third time, I'll repeat, my first point to her was, you're not to fuck with Bob again. More or less, that's what I said. Don't fuck with Bob ever again, is what I told her. And when she did, I stopped being friends with her. It's very, very simple.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I might be wrong. Party, do you feel safe around Mike?
Say yeah. Well, a simple answer.
Party, you know, as you know, a minor yourself, what do you think about this? Because we kind of laid out what we thought about this, but as a minor yourself, do you think, and you looking at the situation, do you honestly think that Mike doesn't care? And you just be honest.
I'll be honest. I don't think what Akira is saying is true, because if he really didn't care about the safety of minors, he wouldn't have put Hani kind of like on a leash, like, don't go after Bob or it's over, right? And like looking at it entirely, I think Mike does care about the safety of minors. I think the statement Akira's making is insane.
Yeah, definitely some deaf noodle shit right there. Yeah, and even I kind of wanted to get on in this too, because I saw a bunch of people replying, and then I kind of wanted to like throw my 2 cents in there, right? So, I saw what, DeOrio Draws was saying about this one, about Mike and whatnot too, right? So DeOrio Draws is basically like questioning like, why are people like okay with like Mike the Bike coming back, right? And then I'm just basically like, well, who cares, right? Because the way I see it, Mike the Bike was like just like simping online. That's, if you want to say like what he did like in like a sentence, that's basically it.
I think the best comparison you can make for me is I'm basically like Leinad, but the difference is that I never came back and then pointed at the community and said, you guys are going to make Hani kill herself. And I was never going to do that, by the way. I've said this in tweets and in replies before. If Hani had killed herself, I wouldn't have come back to the community, pointed my finger at everyone and said, you guys made her kill herself. Because at the end of the day, if she killed herself, that's still a result of her own actions. Her getting excommunicated from the community was based on her actions, and if that led to her suicide, that still would have been on her. That would not have been in the community, because that's not how I think that works. Yeah, like, I guess you can say I'm comparable to Leinad, but I never was going to come back and downplay, defend, or claim that everyone was going to make her kill herself. Like, that's just not a thing I was ever going to do. Obviously, it didn't happen, so you can't prove like a negative, right? But I'm just saying right now, like, I've told multiple people this. That's just something I was never gonna do. Period. And Leinad gets a lot of shit. And to be fair, I think it was pretty scummy for him to just point at Augie and Nick and say, "You guys are cultivating an audience to make Abe kill herself," or something along those lines. But it's like a step beyond, honestly, to try and put that on a whole community. When at the end of the day, like, Abe fucked up, Hani fucked up. They both fucked up. Obviously, what Abe did isn't as bad. Well,
we have another thing on Abe, so we'll get into
we're gonna go.
Too,
yeah,
so.
I'm about to delve into the topic of ethics, but they both fucked up,
okay.
right?
Yeah,
that's the main point.
Basically, Real DeOrio tweeted out that like, why are people welcoming Mike? And I responded like, who cares? People done worse. In my mind, I was thinking like, people like I'm Alex or H3H3, because H3H3 was saying like, oh, James Charles is like a predator, right? So that's pretty like fucking like wild, right? And I'm thinking like, well, people still like H3H3, so it can't be that bad, right? It's Mike the Bike, who cares, right? And then fucking DeOrio Draws responds back with, by that logic, Hani, EDP, and any other groomer on the internet should be welcome back because there are people on YouTube who have done way worse. And then I didn't really want to go into it on Twitter, but I'm going to do it now. Like, dude, how fucking dishonest are you? Like, this is equivalent to like someone saying, well, I'm for free speech, and then being like, well, why aren't you okay with saying the N-word then, huh? Like, it's just like a little 13-year-old argument. Like, it's so stupid. Like, how it's very dishonest, and it kind of gets under my skin a little bit saying this.
And another thing on that too, trying to compare Mike directly to Hani or EDP, just because you aren't like directly saying he's a groomer, you're implying that he is by comparing Mike to those groomers.
I think it's just really stupid, and I kind of like rolling my eyes looking at that. And apparently, we're not the only ones who have, the eye. There's a lot of people in the community that have their eyes on the situation, including Abe, actually. So Abe ended up posting on her Instagram story and said, "This one is for Mike. You had sex with someone attracted to children. Mind your biz about what I spend money on."
So yeah, the context for that was that she basically talk about Abe was going around again because it was apparently, this isn't true, but at the time it was believed that she called the police on Leinad in a drunken stupor. And so I was in chat being like, I can't believe like shit's gone this far with her, like, and then while we were shit talking her, I was like, you know what, there's other things, because she constantly just starts talking shit about the community again, and it's like, okay, well, you're like talking shit and this and that, what came out was that she apparently spent $400 on Funko Pops. That apparently isn't true. She only spent $100 on Funko Pops. But I was saying in chat, I was like, how is this girl gonna like? She got $400 and like, because that's what we believed at the time. She spent it all on Funko Pops. But I was like, how is she gonna get $400 and she didn't send any of that money to her kid? She has a kid that she lives with her mom. So then she made a mess. She posted that about me, and it's like, okay, first of all, I didn't know she was attracted or had a crush on Bob when we did our thing. Okay, so that's one thing. The second thing is I did that one time. I would rather live this life that I have right now, having done that one time, than, and I'm going to say, I made a tweet thread about this, but I'll say it here. I'd rather do that one time than be a mentally deranged alcoholic who lives off the government and fucking had to pour like milk over myself for money on Patreon and falsely accused a cripple of, you know, being abusive. Like, the things that you have done. Yeah, I'll live my life 1,000 times over living your life for 1 second. So that's my response to that. I made that response on Twitter, and I'll clarify, the things that came out about her apparently, according to Leinad, weren't true, or at least not 100% true. So, you know, I'll take certain things back. But overall, trying to use that as an own against me is very, very weak compared to the shit that you've done. So, yeah, whatever.
Gabe's fucking weird, and this Instagram story ended up getting reposted onto Twitter by Tipster, and because of this, we ended up getting a bunch of other more mentally deranged tweets from other members of the community. So yeah. Oh, here's a great one though. We have Eyesack. So Eyesack responded back to this. Yeah, it's really fucking stupid. So Eyesack ended up responding back to what Tipster said, and basically what Tipster said is that you know, oh, well, it's funny how Abe is like shitting on MikeTheBike when she did all this, right? So, and fucking Eyesack responds back to this by saying, Mike is an actual piece of shit, dude. I see him as worse than Abe, especially after what he did to certain individuals I will not name. The idea that you can somehow are worse than Abe is like completely fucking like mind-boggling, dude.
Well, just to point out, Eyesack, so this was like 2 weeks after I left, Eyesack randomly DM'd me on Instagram, and he was like, if you're planning on coming back, then you best tread lightly. I know you have ulterior motives with people in this community, and we're watching you. And I didn't even respond to him. I'm like, okay, this guy's crazy.
Yeah, he thinks you're some like fucking kingpin of like the commentary community.
I was like, the only two people that have ever DM'd my private Instagram over internet shit is Eyesack and Trans Tipster. So maybe it's not a stretch to say Eyesack's as crazy as Trans Tipster, but I mean, what do I know?
Well, with the take like you're worse than Abe, I wouldn't be surprised that this guy's fucking brain damaged as well too.
It's so stupid.
Again, no disrespect to the people I'm talking about, but you said something stupid, so we have to call it out as we see it. So, and unfortunately, I would love to say that it just ended there, and then this guy just got clapped on by other people, including Tipster, but unfortunately it didn't, so it kept going. And then we have a witchy writer responding back to Eyesack by saying, yes, because simping, when he may have been manipulated, is worse than falsely accusing people of physical and sexual assault. I didn't realize this community was full of dumb fucks. Oh, pretty good from Witchy. And of course fucking Eyesack has to respond back to that by saying, yeah, cause simping is all he did. As for the accusations, I don't remember any about physical and sexual assault. I remember the community perceiving those claims to be that. You really should question all perspectives, even ones that you believe in, just as I have. So Witchy then goes and responds back by saying, Abe tried to Me Too Ricky Berwick. Then Abe fucking falsely accused Leinad of physical assault and called the cops on him for it. So now he's in court. Imagine the court fees for being falsely accused of beating someone. Abe is a psychopathic bitch.
Which we know, by the way, we know by now that that's apparently not true. The whole court thing is not true by now. But at the time, that was the believed information.
Yeah, and then Eyesack then goes and says, how do you know it's false? Innocent until proven guilty is a good value to have, but it isn't wise to call accusations that haven't yet been proven false to be false. It's
It's really stupid because
you should take your own advice. Yeah.
It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent.
And you should really take your own advice, by the way, too, you know, because we have a lot of people, including yourself, that are basically just spewing a bunch of lies about you. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So here we go. We have Kales, though, saying, if anything, I'll compare Mike to Leinad. And I mean, when I first saw this, I thought like, okay, you know, they're both kind of like stuck out with like this girl. So I guess that's an okay comparison.
I think comparing me to Leinad is fair. There's differences between me and Leinad, but on a base level, comparing me to Leinad, I think is totally fair.
Yeah, it's more about, for me, when I look at this, it's more about like, yeah, on like just a glancing kind of analysis, maybe. But then you look more into like the situations and you're just like, nah, dude. Because like, I think Leinad is basically putting up with way more shit from like Abe than you did with Hani. And then you basically gave her like an ultimatum, you know, don't talk with Bob. And if you talk with Bob, then we're basically done as friends, right? And compared to like Leinad, who, you know, still sticking with Abe. So, you know, I wouldn't really say that that's like the most fair. I would say that's like the most accurate comparison. I would say like maybe on a surface level, yeah. But I guess you have your own view on that, and I do too.
So I'm gonna take an assumption that the original screenshot was from Abe's story, was like with the caption, "I wasn't ugly" when he was asking for free access to my Patreon, and Nick's Bullocks replies to a tweet with that screenshot and goes, "Who is she talking about?" And Kales is referring to MikeTheBike, saying how Mike apparently asked for access to the Patreon, I guess.
So, one, I don't even think Abe is referring to me there because I never once called her ugly, like, anywhere. Yeah, I don't think that's referring to me, but even if it was, that's not true either. I've never, ever asked for free access to Patreon. As a matter of fact, I did actually pay for a Patreon one time because she was talking to me about, like, this is a really long time ago, but I remember that she was, like, talking to me and she was having, like, a really rough time. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll support your Patreon and hopefully that'll help you out a little bit. But I never asked her for free access to her Patreon. According to someone, Kales was saying in like a VC that apparently I did, and I was gloating about it. If I asked for Abe's free Patreon and I got it, why would I gloat about it? Why would I gloat about asking someone for free stuff and then being like, yo, I got free stuff? Like, no. The one time I did gloat about free stuff was I was like making joking tweets between Kiwi and Breezy, and then Kiwi Sunset sent me something for free. I didn't ask for anything for free, but Kiwi Sunset sent me something for free, and I gloated about that. So I'll give Kale's benefit of the doubt. Maybe she's confusing stories, but never once did I ever ask Abe for free access to her Patreon. As a matter of fact, actually, for like Christmas, I think it was, I gave Abe a free band t-shirt. So if either from me or Abe, either of us got anything for free, it was her who got something for free. But, you know, it was for Christmas, so not a big deal either way. So, no, not true.
Yeah, so Hannah Animal on Twitter is, like, when Mike came back, he started showing up in chats and all that, and she's asking about out-of-context screenshots he sent before he left claiming Tipster. There's Mod, who is Irish Badass, was apparently harassing him.
So, yeah, basically what this whole thing was about, she's kind of saying here is that I purposefully sent DMs from Irish Badass out of context to people to get people to defend me and for it to be posted publicly. So the full timeline of things is this was, I think, the day after Hani was exposed, and I was very much in like a I want to be left alone state. Like I was very vulnerable at the time because I was pretty shocked about the whole thing from the day before. You know, no sleep, anything like that. Like very much not a good time, obviously. Not for sympathy, by the way. I'm not saying this. Anything I say here is not for sympathy. It's for clarification. Like, I'm just stating as things as factually as possible. But at the time, I just wasn't in a state to be kind of dealing with anything. And Irish Badass started DMing me, asking me questions about Zell. Now, I basically responded to her and said I didn't really know much about Cell. And, Irish Badass was like, yeah, well, I'm trying to figure out information so I could talk to Keemstar about it. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to be rude or anything like that, but I kind of want to be left alone. And she was like, what? You want to be left alone? And I was like, yeah, sorry. And she was like, whatever. And I took that as the way she was like kind of sending to me, I took it in a very like aggressive way. Whether she was intending to be aggressive or not, maybe she wasn't, but I took it that way. So I DM'd 4 people about it. I DM'd A-Star, Nugget, I believe Kales, and Suplex. I DM'd 4 people who I knew either knew Tipster or could get in contact with Irish Badass, and I was like, hey, could you guys like just try and see if you can kind of get her off my back? I sent the full context DMs. I sent all, I think there was 3 screenshots in total, and I sent them all in full. What happened was I sent the 3 of those people I sent through Discord. Nugget, me and Nugget have each other's phone numbers. I sent it through text. And what happened, from what I understand, is that the first and last DM sent first, and the second one sent third. So Nugget only sent the first and last one, or maybe it was the second and third one. Basically, she got them out of order, so she posted only 2 of the screenshots I sent her. Those screenshots made it seem like Irish was coming at me and was going to go at Keemstar about this. That wasn't the case at all. And Nugget, I saw Nugget posted it, and honestly, I should have told her to take it down because I didn't want her to put it up. But at the time, I just wanted to be left alone, so I was like, well, if that takes care of it, that takes care of it. Yeah, I'll take fault for that, but at the end of the day, I didn't intend for Nugget or anyone else to put out those screenshots publicly. And, Nugget already apologized for it as well. I'm not putting the blame fully on Nugget. I should have, if it was something like DMs, first of all, I shouldn't have probably spread those DMs to like 4 different people in the first place. I just wanted someone to get in contact with Tipster so I could be left alone. It wasn't my intention for those DMs to go out to the public and to have them be out of context. I sent the full context to all 4 people. And to clarify, the reason Nugget did it wasn't, out of malicious or anything like that. She did it because she saw that I was, upset and hurting at the time, and she was also upset, and she just did it to defend me, pretty much. But, she apologized and everything about it. She admits that it was a dumb thing of her to do, and it was a dumb thing of me to do. I shouldn't have sent those DMs out in the first place. Like, it was just a stupid mistake that shouldn't have been made at all by either of us.
And yeah, and even Irish Badass ended up also replying to this as well too. And of course, even then, we still see that stupid argument being spread around the community that it says right here, I really don't care about that guy due to the company he chose over everyone else. So again, we have that same fucking like idea, that same talking point being like spread around between multiple people. I don't know if you guys can tell, but like seeing this over and over again, it's seeing this like false information just kind of being thrown out there. It gets on my nerves a little bit too. Because guys, once again, no, he did not pick her over like his internet friends and stuff like that. No, it's not true. Okay. Because I'm still here and Party's here too, okay? So there's at least 2 people, and we know that Nugget and him are friends as well too.
Yeah, but the overall, I will say, I'll extend an apology to Irish Badass now. It was like, I think a few days after that went down, A-Star called me, we got on a call, and he asked me, like, he wanted the context of what went down, like how did things end up how they ended up, and I told him the same thing I just explained to you guys now. And I told A-Star myself, like, if Irish wants an apology from me, I'll gladly give it to her. But if she also doesn't want to speak to me, then I won't, then, I'll leave her alone as well. Just let me know whatever she wants. And as far as I understood, she didn't want anything from me. So, or A-Star didn't get back to me on that. So I just didn't apologize to her. But whether you accept it or not, I'll extend an apology to you right now. Yeah, that's not what I intended to happen. I didn't intend for your DMs to be cherry picked. I'll apologize that they got out there, but I'm not gonna apologize for cherry picking them because I didn't cherry pick them. I sent the full DMs to 4 different people, and they can all, well, I don't know if Kales would, but the other 3 can verify that they did get the full DMs between me and Irish Badass. And I don't believe in the posting of private DMs unless it's like last like resort, like someone's lying about you and you got to prove something. That's the only time I believe in posting DMs publicly.
I agree with that too.
But like otherwise, I don't think it's ever right to post private DMs publicly. So no, never was my intention to post my DMs with Irish Badass. I sent it to 4 specific people who I thought could help me. That's pretty much it. But I am sorry that they did get out there and that they were out of context when they got out there. But it wasn't my intention either way.
Speaking of leaked DMs, let's go over Kales. So Kales is someone who, kind of like Kyung, every time you get brought up, she loves to just go off on you and rant and spurg about you. In the tweet that DeOrio Draws ended up posting, like I said, it got a lot of traction to it, a lot of people responding to it, right? Including Kales, and Kales ended up tweeting out, "Nah, I ain't welcoming his stupid ass back. Not only did he defend a groomer," which you already kind of proved that wasn't true, "he allegedly manipulated someone, who I'm leaving unnamed, into leaving the community. Fuck that shit." Now, this second part was something that really stood out to me because here we have something completely new, which I haven't heard this talking point yet. So, do you know anything about you manipulating someone in the community?
I know who she's referring to, and I'm not going to refer to that person by name because Kales also left them unnamed. So I'm not going to refer to them by name. All I'll say about that is I was very close to this person and I considered them a good friend of mine. And basically what happened was they were going through a lot of really bad things. And, you know, I was going through some things as well, not comparable, but I was going through some things as well. So I had a much shorter like temper. And unfortunately, I was mean to her a few times. I was, not that I like shouted at her or anything like that, but, you know, I wasn't as good of a friend as I should have been. And they stopped being friends with me. And anyone that knew me at the time knew that I was very much saddened by that end of that friendship. And on top of that, they decided to leave the community. Now, I wasn't aware that I was the reason that they left, but if that's what they're alleging now, I'm just not going to accept that criticism because more than anything, I wanted them to be my friend and I wanted them to be in the community. I would never have intentionally manipulate them to leaving the community. That's not something I would have done when my main goal was for them to either be in the community or to be my friend. So I don't see how it would make sense for me to purposefully manipulate them out of the community. And if the allegation is that I unpurposefully manipulated them out of the community, then again, I'm not going to accept that. Like, I'm sorry that they felt that way, but I'm not going to accept that because that's just not something that was within my intention. So like, if my actions led to them leaving the community, that's not what they said to me initially. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to get into any other details because I also don't want to name them.
Yeah, Kales, I mean, usually when I see Kales talk about you, it's usually like just spurg stuff. Like we have another tweet saying about like, oh, you basically used your Twitlonger to garner sympathy. Yeah, and then Kales also said that you lied to us.
Yeah, I'll address that. I did lie to the community in general when I said I was still friends with her, but there were specific I lied to privately, which I'll extend an apology to them as well. They don't obviously, if you accept my apology or not, that's your prerogative, but I will genuinely apologize to specifically Gary, Hannah Gore, THS, Monsoon, I believe I also lied directly to. There was a handful of people that I directly in DMs lied to about it, and I will extend an apology to them. Whether they accept it or not is their prerogative, but I am genuinely sorry. That was a fuck up on my end. I shouldn't have lied to you guys, especially when you guys were trying to help me. That was, to me, that's probably the worst thing I did. That's probably the one thing I do regret most. And if someone asks why haven't I apologized to them myself, I just figure they don't really ever want to hear from me again, which is fair. So those are the people that, like, if they hate me, that's totally fair because I did directly lie to their face. So I'm sorry.
And just for clarification, this is what Kales means by lying. Is that the lie that you were still friends with Hani? Was that the lie?
That's the lie, that I was still friends with Hani.
And then, of course, Kales, once again, this is like, I think the third or fourth time I've seen this being posted, that you left your friends to be with Hani. So again, this is like, And this happens so often. I'm just like, oh, okay, like we have this one talking point again, dude. I don't know. It's just completely stupid. I'm tired of seeing this. I'm tired of seeing this point.
Taps is here saying basically that like she doesn't think she doesn't think I defended Hani, which I didn't, nor did I intend to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the only one, I see that Stacy ended up responding, and I think it's kind of fair to say that like, oh, that you said that what she did wasn't grooming. That's kind of sus. You know, if Stacy doesn't like you, and I think that what Stacy said is kind of like a fair argument against you.
That's more fair if you don't remember the exact wording of my Twitlonger, but I never said what she did wasn't grooming. I said that from my perspective, I didn't see what she was doing as grooming, but if your perspective is that she did groom, then yeah, that's why if anyone calls her groomer, I'm not going to be like, well, hold on, I don't think, like, it's like if someone calls her groomer, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fair. That's a fair thing.
I saw Stacy also respond back to like my thing with DeOrio Draws, and personally I think Stacy's being way more fair than most people are being, especially when we have people saying that you left all your friends to be with her, and that's not even true because we're still talking. So yeah, you know, Mike, out of everything that's happened in the community, you know, you leaving ended up creating like this kind of void in the online space because, you know, you started streaming a lot, you started posting a lot of videos, and, you know, you ended up getting a little bit of a community in yourself. You know, I was, you know, in your chat a lot. I did appear on your streams, and there was somebody that used to appear on your stream a lot, actually, Swan. So Swan was there a lot, actually. And I don't really see Swan all that much anymore now that you're gone. So it's really unfortunate to see that dude leave.
I'll put it out there. If Swan, I don't know if Swan likes me or not, but regardless, I do think Swan should make a comeback. Because, I mean, Swan is still gone. So I think so long as Swan's gone, Swan needs to be in.
I agree. I think, I don't know, I like the gimmick account. I thought it was kind of funny, especially since the direction that Swan ended up taking the account.
Yeah, he became Emo Swan.
Yeah, he became... So for people... Okay, so for people who don't know, so Swan kept pestering Mike for like the longest time, like to play Navajo race on stream, right? So Mike finally caves in. He fucking bends the knee and he plays Navajo race on stream, right? But fucking Swan kept bugging him about it like again and again and again. And then Mike's like, no, I'm not going to play fucking Navajo race on stream. So Swan leaves the chat and like immediately comes back as like Emo Swan.
Yeah, then they started saying, can you do a My Chemical Romance song? And I was like, for you? No. And they were just like sad about it.
Yeah, that's trash anyway, so you don't want to play that on stream anyway, so.
Whoa, hold on. My Chemical Romance is amazing.
No, I disagree.
That'll be a debate for another time.
I guess so. But yeah, so that's going to conclude episode 1 of the Hindsight podcast, Mike the Bike. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Once again, I'm your host, xExotic. I'm here with Party and also Mike the Bike himself. So thank you guys all for watching. And next time, we're going to be covering someone who has made her name in the community known for quite a while, specifically with another guy named Leinad. I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about.
All right. Subscribe and be on the lookout for the next episode.
Also, be sure to subscribe to both xExotic's channel and Party's channel and Squatchin on Twitch. All links will be in the description. As for any closing statements from me, there are a few things I'm working on, mainly for charity, but I will reveal more of that stuff when December rolls around. So just expect something coming out in December for charity, specifically St. Jude's charity.
But yeah, that was episode 1 of the Hindsight podcast. I hope you all enjoyed. Until next time. So right now, we basically are listening to the timestamp that like Trans Tipster posted on Twitter that like it's supposed to be like a got him on Mike, right? Like, oh shit, you know, you fucking got him here, right? And we're listening into this, and I'm not really seeing anything that's like damning against you, Mike.
Yeah,
honestly,
there's literally
nothing. There's
literally
nothing.
Nothing. All she said, the only time she mentioned me was to say what I already said, which was that the whole gore porn thing was just her sending gore porn to Trolling Bastard. So, yeah, get nailed on Trans Tipster. I hope you kill yourself.
Yeah, okay, disavow, but like you suck, Trans Tipster.
Yeah.
This was fucking nothing. This is like the biggest fucking like brain dead gotcha I've seen in like a long time. So
Nah, you know what? I'll say this, Trans Tipster, you literally waste the oxygen that we have on this planet. Like, you're the biggest waste of space I've ever known in my life. You literally make Smaggle look like Einstein. If there was Einstein and a caveman, the distance between their intelligence wouldn't match the distance between you and Smaggle's intelligence. That's how low you are. You should literally just end your life so your parents can finally be happy.
Holy shit.
Well, this dude does own 2 gimmick accounts making transgender versions of YouTubers, so well, we can well, there we go. That's gonna be it for now with the Trans Tipster thing. So
alright.